Hi, everybody. This is Karen Palmer, and I am your host of Living on Purpose TV. And this is the TV show that you are going to get all the tips and tools and strategies to really live your life with purpose and passion. And isn't it going to be an amazing planet when we have so many people living their life with purpose and passion? Each week, I get to interview these incredible guests that are experts in their field, that are incredibly conscious business people, that are very successful in their own lives, but they've had some stumbling blocks along the way, and they want to share those secrets. They want to help you to avoid the potholes and really give you a roadmap to have the amazing life that you dream of, because that dream has been placed in your heart for you to achieve, for you to accomplish. And so my guest that I have today, I feel so honored and so grateful that she's taken the time to be with us today, is Kris Oster. And she is an incredibly gifted woman who empowers business leaders and gives them the tips and the tools, the strategies, and everything that they can possibly need to really market their business in a big way, you know, in a very, very conscious and spiritual way, so that you can really get the results that you've been looking for. And she has so many amazing products, and she does so many wonderful things in the world. I'd just like to introduce her and ask her a couple questions about why she does what she does. Hi, Kris.
Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for having me. This is really a pleasure and an honor. Thank
I'm
you.
so grateful that you're here, and honestly, I love all the work that you're doing in the world. I love that you do all your readings, that you have all these opportunities for amazing light workers to gather and connect together, and how we can really help to make the world a better place, and just starting in every corner of the world, each one of us doing what we can. So can you explain to us a little bit about what it is that you do, and why do you feel that it's purposeful to you?
Well, I do a lot of different things, but I will say that on my road to becoming an entrepreneur, and I would say more of an entrepreneur who is sovereign of her life and connecting with the earth and the universal energies, that I believe first and foremost I'm a healer. So for a long time I kept falling into marketing jobs. I mean, when I was in the corporate world until 2011, I worked for Entertainment Television, I worked for Disney, I worked for Paramount, I worked for the big entertainment companies as a marketing person. And my education was in, my lower grad was cultural anthropology and music. So whatever, I ended up in marketing. And it was like one of those things that was like, I always had fun doing it because I'm really into communication, and I love getting the word out there about things that are important to me. And you know, if you're working for a company, what's important for a company. But I just found that the more that I worked for somebody else, I felt restless, like spirit really wanted me to do something else. And it became clear that what made me happiest at work was collaborating with the other people I was with and helping somebody's vision come to life. So what I've done now is I do that in, you know, as a branding strategist and a coach, and also as a teacher. You know, I help other, mostly I would say solopreneurs, not so much companies anymore, because I have, you know, like about 20 clients, and they all are different. I mean, they all are beautiful and these radiant beings like yourself who have this big message. So they bring me on because there's a little bit of that fear, you know, that little bit of that fifth chakra stuff, you know, like what happens when I'm naked and in front of people saying who I really am.
Yeah.
Because we're taught in traditional business to be like a business person and be buttoned up, and it's very super patriarchal. You don't say certain things. you have to be a certain way, and it's usually you have to be like a man.
Mm-hmm.
For women, doesn't work.
Right. It's more of a.
Men doesn't work either. Most men are like, I just want to be myself. What do I have to be this kind of man?
Right. Yeah, we have these silly little paradigms that we've created that I love a falling apart. I love watching it all fall apart because I can't wait to see what we rebuild. And I know that we are rebuilding a new earth, and I love that we are all these conscious helpers all together. And I just feel that there's this beautiful energy that is bringing us all to each other, and I feel really honored and grateful that you're in this circle. So thank you so much. Is there something that along the way there might have been a stumbling block or something that made you really feel like, I don't know if I can ever get back up from this, and you turned it into a stepping stone and you were able to pick yourself up? Because successful people, we all have been in many, many struggles, and the more that I feel, that we share these struggles and help each other to avoid certain potholes, I'm so grateful when somebody says, "Oh, you know what? I did it this way, and it really worked." So, is there something that you might want to share?
I'm sorry, there seems to be somebody trying to call me.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know how to turn it off. It's not like Skype. I can't block them, so sorry, folks.
That's all right.
I'm trying to ring through. Is it pretty loud? Can you hear it?
It's hardly hearable at all. I just hear you. Yep.
Okay.
It sounds kind of meditative, and it's kind of relaxing, and maybe it's like our little woo-woo. Maybe it's our little, our little spirit.
E.T. is phoning home, right?
E.T. is phoning home. Yeah.
Okay, so you wanted me to talk about like the pitfalls along the way, and the one thing I really believe in that I tell people is that there is no straight shot to the top. People that you see at the top of their game, they've gone through everything and more than what you've gone through.
Yeah.
It's it's great when we can get together and have these real talks about what really happens when you're an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
And the big thing is the visibility piece, and being authentic. It's kind of it's become a little bit of a generic catchphrase. So I'm going to try to be more specific. But in my own journey, at one point I saw. I've seen spirits since I was a child, so I've always been, I guess, kind of considered a psychic medium channel kind of a person. But in my my working life, I'm just Kris, super pragmatic, very Athena-like, gets things done and has a vision and boom, does it. And there's this other side of Kris that's very mystical, and for a long time I wasn't really showing her that much to the world. That a lot of times, like when I write copy for a client, I'm going to meditation, I'm downloading it. It's not me writing, it's somebody writing their copy. Mm-hmm. And to explain that to somebody, well, how do you work? Well, I download stuff from the universal source. Most people do not think that's a very corporate way of being, but even when I was in corporations, I worked that way. I just never divulged that. Mm-hmm. So at one point, it was the middle of the night. My husband and my daughter were in bed with me, and they were asleep, and I knew I was awake, but I wasn't quite sure. And I saw this orb float into my room. It was really beautiful, like radiant red orb. And I just kind of followed it along the room, watching it. I was like, no, this is real. Mm-hmm. So I got up out of bed, and it went out my door and went into my my room here, which is my meditation room, where I do ritual and do my connect, And I sat down and closed my eyes, and I asked the orb, well, who are you and what are you here for? You obviously want to communicate. And the orb told me its name was Morgan. It was a myrrh spirit. It was a conglomeration of 9 myrrh spirits, actually.
Wow.
So that channeling kind of went on every night, and till about, I think about 2 years it went on every night. So a lot of that material, I had never released any of that material. Future.
Uh-huh.
But
And myrrh that's considered a joy spirit, right? Isn't that considered?
myrrh is ocean.
Oh,
Ocean.
ocean.
Water.
Okay.
She's a water ocean
So
goddess.
that would be emotions then?
Sure, emotions. And she told me very specific things about how they work on the spiritual plane and why they're choosing certain people, and because some people have. Because my gal is like a mermaid, but she's got angel wings. So she's kind of got both aspects.
Wow.
So anyways, she told me, you need to put on a mermaid's tail and be photographed as a mermaid. And I was like, what? I just thought it was what kind of spirit gives that kind of advice? It was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I called my photographer. I've worked with the same photographer for years, named Rachel Thurston, amazing photographer, and knows how to make women feel like a goddess. I called her up. I said, Rachel, this is going to sound really crazy, but you have to photograph me as a mermaid. She's like, oh my God! For 2 weeks, I've been obsessing about mermaids.
Oh, wow.
So she was getting the messages too.
Of course, yeah, it's universal. Uh-huh, yeah.
So in February of 2012, about maybe three or 4 months after that phone call, we finally got together and did this photo shoot of me that you see on my website now.
Yeah, I love it.
2012 of February. It took me until August of 2012 to put those on the website. I was like, there's just no way anybody will ever hire me if I'm like this mermaid coach, branding person. It's so not credible. They're going to think I'm a weirdo. And so that was my pitfall, was really, I was given
letting your gifts come out. That's been a big struggle for me. That was a big struggle for me also, especially being an animal communicator and being a conscious dog trainer, going in and explaining to people that I'm working with the dog's chakras, and I'm working with their chakras, and that their dog is reading their energy, and everybody's just like, oh, this is so cute. This is such a cute thing that you do, but I got 100% success rate with every animal that I've ever worked with, and I have like testimonials from all types of people that have said, there's something deeper. There's something that she does that I can't explain. And so it's like, it's hard. I love that idea of being in a mermaid suit. I think that's an awesome, because you know what? Our world needs more mythical and mystical experiences. Like, I love Joseph Campbell, and I really feel that, I feel like his energy is really kind of expanding in all different areas. So, wow, what a wonderful, wonderful story. I mean, that is just the coolest. So what happened after that?
So I finally put all that mermaid stuff and said, hey, I'm a mermaid woman. And
that's how I met you.
I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
That's how I met you. That's how I ended up signing up for your course and taking your mermaid course. Yeah.
Yeah, for Bewitch, right?
Yes.
I think you signed up for Bewitch and the Enchant Challenge.
Exactly.
So, I made more money. I got a lot more clients because I was a mermaid. It stood out.
You trusted your intuition. You trusted.
You have to trust your intuition.
Yeah.
Because even if it seems like, God, that is really left of center.
Yeah.
these beings that are with us and within us, because we're all one ultimately, we know that.
Right.
They are there to help us. So the more you find, record and acknowledge and appreciate synchronicities, and figure out what your intuition is telling you, because it's all through your heart too. That's what they told me.
Mm-hmm.
We're all coming through. There's this magnetism in your heart, and that's how we're getting into your field. We're getting into that heart chakra area. That's how we're getting you these messages.
Yeah. Because I felt that, I was just asking one of my coaches about that, because I feel like, I've been doing a lot of music myself. I've been recording, and I'm putting together inspirational music that goes with the dogs that I'm working with, and then I'm donating proceeds to help create a no-kill nation for shelter animals. And I've been feeling like Lakshmi and Sarasvati have been really the two goddesses that they've come into my heart, and they're just, it's like when I speak or when I sing, it's like I'm singing almost a higher octave than I've ever sung before. I'm reaching notes that I've never been able to, and the harmonies that I'm able to do now are just absolutely mind-blowing. And so is that something that would be considered what you're talking about?
Exactly what I'm talking about.
You're coming into our heart.
To do the most powerful work in the world, the most transformative work in the world, you have to set the ego aside and allow that heart to open. And if you're singing from your heart, you're speaking, if everything's coming from that place, you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
and it's beyond the money. It's so about life purpose. It's so about living and bringing heaven to earth. I mean, that's what we're here for.
It feels like in this first time in this lifetime, in this physical form, in this physical body, for the first time, I'm not looking for external approval anymore. It's like I've finally found my own voice, and through all the struggles and all the pain and suffering that I went through, it's like I get to actually be the voice for the battered women, and for the women that are still struggling, and for the children that are struggling, and for the animals that have been abused. And I just feel so honored, and there's like this part of me that's almost always kind of feeling called to do the next thing, And I mean, like you said, there is no synchronicity. It's all connected. So I love that, and it's like such a confirmation for me that you just said it. So thank you.
Oh yeah, I think we all need to hear that. We need to be reminded of that, because the world will always try to steer us the wrong way.
And they do. They tear you down. They tear you down, and they when you have creativity, they want you to paint the tree green, not purple.
Yeah. Why not?
I like purple trees.
Purple?
Yeah, I love purple trees. What are they called? They're in Santa Barbara. There's the
jacaranda trees.
Jacaranda. Those are my favorite. And I lived in Massachusetts. I'd never seen one of those. And when I was in kindergarten, I would paint those, and my teachers would tell me I'm just too creative, and I need to stop that. Yeah. So I love this. Thank you so much. So now, what would you suggest to somebody who's listening right now, who is saying, aha, 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 I got all my aha moments. She said everything I needed to hear. I'm ready to be a mermaid. I'm ready I'm ready to take my intuition to the next level, and I'm ready to really take my business to a place where I can really be seen. What would be your action steps that you would suggest?
So here, this is where I'm going to differ from what I normally do, because this came through, we talked about this earlier before we were live, but right now, my clients and then even my friends, everybody's saying they're really tired.
Yeah.
Like they need a lot more sleep.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to get up a half hour early to work out, to meditate, and this is the first action step is listen to your body. It's that physical connection to Mother Earth that has so much wisdom. If you need sleep, do not wake up a half hour early to meditate. That's like, and I think part of this is because we are in a cycle of deep transformation. I mean, there's a lot of like astrological stuff happening too, which I don't know all the details, but I know there's a lot going on with Pluto, and Pluto is deep transformation.
Right, and we just got Mercury out of retrograde, so.
Yeah. So you might have been in a space where you were like reviewing stuff, and now it's like reintegration time. So think of yourself as the caterpillar in the cocoon at this time, and its body just becomes like a chaotic soup before it forms itself into the butterfly. So if your body is tired and you need a lot of sleep, it's because you're in a stage of deep transformation and integration. You need that extra time. If you need to take naps, whatever you need to do, that's the first thing to attend to.
Right.
Don't shut off your body's signals.
Right?
I think that's a big one. That's the step number one. Step number two is work with the chakras. So I know, Karen, you said you work with the chakras, and in my book, I go through all 7 chakras, but if you have any method or if you need a method, you could come to Karen. I'm sure she can tell you and give you suggestions, but there's a lot of great books out there and CDs.
What is the name of your book?
Return to Enchantment.
Okay, and that's the one that's coming out, or this is the one?
Coming out in January.
Okay, coming out in January. Okay, great.
So, working with the chakras is so profound, and it's like the easiest thing you could ever do, right? I mean, even if you just do the color visualizations with each chakra. So yeah, Karen, I'll let you lead the way as far as, I think I've used books by Judith, Anodea Judith, I think that's her name.
Anodea Judith, yep.
That's the book. I have her books, and I think I've done Doreen Virtue.
That's Wheels of Life is the one that she has, yeah. And Doreen Virtue has a beautiful one too, yeah.
So these are resources I would give you and give to your people, because each of those chakras, this is through, I've done a lot of work studying Joseph Campbell as well, and there's a very small percentage of people that know that he did some work along with the chakras and the archetypes.
Yeah.
So he's done that work. So what I tried to do in my book was expand it a little bit more and bring a little bit more attention to it, because in business we tend to think that we need to have, do our list building and, do this and do that and do that, which they're important. I'm not saying they're not. But you have to start with the inner game first. You have to
absolutely
do it daily. So everybody I coach, I give them their regimen for the chakra breathing, as I call it. And then the third step is to, you could have a journal. Take 10 minutes every morning and ask, your inner guide. Everybody has an inner guru, an inner mentor, and literally you just do some deep breathing, relax, and maybe you do this after you've done some chakra meditation and connecting the chakras and energizing them, and grounding, of course. What I do is I just put a bubble of white protective light all around my body, and then I ask for my guides to come forward. You do not have to be a psychic medium. You do not have to be any sort of person. You just have to be you. Your angels, guides, mermaids, whoever, your unicorns, whoever it is that wants to work with you on the astral plane, they will come forward. And so if you have this white light around you, you're going to be safe. And basically, it's almost like you just begin a dialogue like what we're doing now, like with a friend.
Right.
And you don't want to be like, okay, and start asking and, interrogating them. Because then they're going to back off and be a little bit scared. So it's almost like you start very casually. So who are you? What's your name? And you start to get a feel for who they are. And just say, hey, I'm really open to guidance about XYZ issue in my business. And see what comes through. Write it down.
Yeah.
And, if you're not sure what action to take, you just keep asking. And they'll guide you towards it.
That's awesome. Awesome advice. Awesome. It
can't get more simple than that, can it? I mean, I used to give people really complicated things to do, and I'm like, this is what helps my clients the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to I just want to say what amazingly perfect, wonderful steps for people, and they just really play upon one another. Listen to your body. gosh, listen to your body, because it's really the most important thing that you have is your body. You know, this physical vehicle that we're walking around in is what brings us to enlightenment, which brings us to the purposeful life that we want. So really cherish your body, listen to it, be grateful for it, make friends with it, really listen to what it's trying to tell you. And definitely when you're, you know, wanting to go to sleep at night, and you want to go to sleep a little earlier, or you're just deciding that you are going to sleep in a little later in the morning, just listen to that. Don't let anything else get in the way of that. And I love that you are sharing this journaling also, because the journaling, you know, for me, it was such a huge help to me to be able to write. When I wrote my first book, it was like this complete freedom to let go and to really let my guides and my spirits and angels, you know, come through and share the wisdom that they'd been sharing with me for such a long time, so that I could help others, you know. And isn't that what we're here for? I mean, I think that's that's our basic purpose, I think, for, you know, life, is to love each other and to learn from each other. You know, I believe that every person has been placed in our hearts, and it's been placed in this world to do what they can to make it the best it possibly can be. I mean, you probably feel that way about for your daughter, you know, when you become a mom. I have an 18-year-old daughter, and I remember when I was pregnant, talking to her and saying, you know, I promise I'm going to do my best to just try to make this world a little bit better every single day. And I've kept that promise, you know, and now she's out making the world a better place, you know. And each one of us gets this opportunity, you know, to reach each other in this deep personal way. So is there anything else that you might like to share as a closing point?
Closing point. Always come back to center, come back to your heart, come back home, because, you know, there are moments when we are working really hard and we're pushing through to get a deadline, or really in a growth period where there's a lot of action, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you find yourself, wow, I'm just kind of doing things because I think I'm supposed to, or because I'm making the motions just to do it,
right,
come back to center and just stop.
Yeah, and so I just want everybody to know that we're going to have all these resources that we talked about. We're going to have Kris's book on, and we're going to have all the resources. But I also want Kris to share a way that she can that you can get in touch with her, so that you can go a little deeper and get involved in some of these great programs that she is sharing. So is there a good way for people to connect with you?
Absolutely. So if you go to my website, which is krisoster.com, KRISOSTER, and right at the very top on the first page is the sign up, you know, for my newsletter, and you get a really comprehensive online business guide called the Goddess Guide to Business Bliss.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
It could be the God's Guide to Business Bliss. It could totally be for guys. It's
awesome.
An orientation for women, because I'm used to working with a lot of goddess women. But Danielle Laporte, Alexandra Franzen, there's a ton, Tanya Geisler, like people who are really well known in the field of marketing and coaching and empowerment. They all contributed. So it's about 150 pages, maybe a little bit more, of my material and their material compiled. So if you want to learn like how to trademark and why it's important, it goes through just everything. So it's free. So if you just sign up on my website, you get that right away, and then I have all other kinds of free workshops and stuff that you'll get through my newsletter as well.
Yeah, it's
Thank
wonderful.
you so much.
Yes, I highly recommend people, you go a little deeper and get to know Kris a little bit more, because just like I said, I signed up for that mermaid course, and that's how we met. And we actually were in an authentic connecting group also, and I just kept, every time I would read what she was doing, I would just resonate. My heart would just open more, and I would say, oh, I need to reach out to her. And then I find out that she lives close to me, and it's just the way that the universe is so beautifully orchestrated, and we get to do these beautiful, beautiful harmonies. I just feel honored. Thank you so, so very much for being with me today. I feel so inspired, and I feel like everything you said was such a confirmation for me, so I'm just going to go out there and do even more, and I'm so, so grateful, and I look forward to having you on more and more. When you have your book come out, we'll have you on again, and we'll do a whole
Yay!
thing for your launch, and we'll come up with some fun thing that we can do to
that sounds great.
Yeah, to get things going for that, and so that more people can help to get the word out for this amazing book that you've written. So thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much for being with all of our virtual family. What an honor to share such wisdom with you, and thank you for your generous offers and ways that people can really, really connect with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen.
Have a great day.
You too.